In this video, I'm going to go over the 3 most unique real estate investing strategies from guests that have come on my podcast. Coming right up. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Sean and I'm a real estate investor here in the Bay Area. And on this channel, we go over real estate investing tips, strategies, and current events to help you learn more about the business and to help you become a real estate investing boss. Today, we're going to talk about the 3 most unique ways that some real estate investors are making huge profits. As I mentioned in my video over here, being a podcast host is one of the most fulfilling things that you can do for anything that you're really passionate about, because you get to talk to so many wonderful experts and learn all of their secrets. And so in this video, I wanted to highlight 3 of the most interesting episodes that I've done with my guests, as well as talk about their different strategies. So here we go. So the first unique investing strategy is from episode number 102 with my friend Jess White. Jess White lives here in the Bay Area, and he's actually been to a couple of my meetup groups here in San Jose. And he actually invests in new construction all the way in Texas. So his strategy involves buying raw land, working with the general contractor over in Texas to build these properties with a construction loan, and then eventually renting out the units. After renting out the units, he's able to refinance and capture all the money he's put into the building. He's doing the BRRRR strategy without rehabbing per se. He's doing the BRRRR strategy by doing new development. The rents cover the mortgage payments, and the whole construction loan covers the cost of the acquisition of the land in the first place. So by doing this strategy, he's able to acquire the land, do the new construction with very little money out of his own pocket, and then refinance into a long-term loan. Meanwhile, the tenants enjoy this wonderfully built new construction home and then pays rent that covers all of his holding costs. This is an amazing strategy, and I wish I could set up an operation out of state to buy raw land, create new development homes, and then have tenants pay for everything and then some. By this episode, you'll learn how to target properties with land can be developed into new homes, and you'll learn how to evaluate markets so you know that the rents will cover all your holding costs. You'll also learn how to work with general contractors, even though you may live thousands of miles away. And finally, by this episode, you'll learn about the different financing strategies that Jess uses to make this whole operation work. So by doing this, he's able to create multiple homes basically for free. It's an infinite game. It's wonderful. Check it out. Now, the second unique strategy is from episode number 166 with my friend Jack Bosch. Jack is an investor who has done thousands of deals, and most of them revolve around land flipping. So unlike traditional real estate investors who buy and sell homes and then flip them by, making them nice and stuff, he basically buys raw land and then puts them on the marketplace to then sell at a higher price. Since raw land is raw land, there are no utility issues, no tenants, obviously no work that needs to be done. You're basically buying one lot and then you're selling it again without doing any work. And the beauty of this strategy is, unlike in the traditional real estate sense where you're buying someone's home, these people are emotional. This is where they may have raised their family, and maybe they're motivated because they're going through some stress. They're going through a divorce, they have a death in the family, or they have too much debt. So they have to sell to you at some motivated price. Jack's strategy is unique because you're buying land from people who don't even want it. Someone may have bought this piece of land 20 or 30 years ago thinking that maybe this is going to be the new Las Vegas. And when finally everything around it booms, I can build a house there and retire there in the future, or the land will be worth a lot more. It's like speculative investing. Well, 30 years have gone by, they may have passed away, and they may have given their land to their heirs. Now, when the heirs get the land, they might think, cool, I got a free piece of land, until the next year where they have to pay property taxes on that land. See, even if you own land free and clear, you still have to pay property taxes on it forever. And to some people, it's only going to be a couple $100 because the value isn't worth that much. But it's still annoying. You have this land that's somewhere out there and you're not getting any use out of it. Meanwhile, you have to pay a couple $100 every single year. Some people are tired of that and they might just, give it away for pennies on the dollar. And unlike traditional real estate investments where you might have a loan on the property, most of the land isn't financeable. So people who own land own them free and clear. By definition, they have bought them with cash and now they own them. And because they own them free and clear, they can do whatever they want. They can sell it to you for full market value, or they can sell it to you for $1. There's no one holding a gun to their head saying that you have to sell above a certain threshold in order to pay us back. So basically the owners can do whatever they want, and he is targeting people who do not want these properties and are happy to just give it away. So by listening to this episode, you're going to learn how to identify these people, work with them to purchase their property that they don't even want, give them something in compensation, and then find a way to market it, put it on these different websites to then sell at a much higher value. So he was able to get about $10,000 to $30,000 of profit per deal, which is similar to what you can get with a regular home flip if you're buying stuff out of state. In this episode, I talked about my encounter with a potential land deal and how I messed it up. So there was a gentleman in Fremont who had this property about an hour and a half away from where we live, and originally back in the year 2004, he was going to use this land to build his retirement home on it. After several years of driving back and forth and trying to do the work himself, he just realized that, you know what, it's not worth it. He'd rather just get rid of the land and move on with his life. Because every single year, he's paying around $200 of property taxes on this property. And he bought this property for about $15,000 back in 2004. He reached out on Craigslist and tried to sell it to us for just $4,000. At the time, we were thinking, wow, $4,000 for land? Like, that's a rounding error for us. We can just buy it and do whatever we want with it. But then we started looking at the cost of, building a home on the property or maybe putting an RV on the lot. And it seemed like it would cost around the same price as if we just bought another home in that area. And so it didn't really make sense. We also couldn't rent it out for 1% of the purchase price or 1% of the development cost. So it didn't really make sense to us in terms of a buy and hold initiative. But the thought was still in our minds, like, if I could buy a piece of land for $4,000 today, it could possibly be worth more in the future. Eventually we thought, you know what, we might end up like this guy where we buy for $4,000 today and end up selling for $2,000 10 years down the line. So instead of that, we just let it go. But after talking to Jack, I realized that maybe I could have marketed it better. Maybe I could have bought the house for $4,000. Maybe I could have taken some nice pictures, made a nice listing on it, and then posted on these different websites, and then maybe sold it for $15,000, making an 11K spread. We'll never know, but it's good to have these different tools under your belt so that when these situations occur, you know what to do. And finally, the most unique strategy that I have come across on my podcast is from episode number 127, Wholesaling Hotels in the Bay Area with Shannon Shackerley-Bennett. This strategy, you guys, is just crazy. Now, people talk about wholesaling houses all the time. Yes, Jack was talking about wholesaling land, but this is the only time that I've heard someone talk about wholesaling hotels. Now, hotels meaning like Marriott, Holiday Inns, these giant $100 million properties. In fact, I had my friend Jerome Yuan come on my podcast to talk about his billion-dollar asset portfolio full of hotels across the country. But that's a different story. We're talking about wholesaling hotels. So how does the whole thing work? Basically, developers who develop Marriotts or Holiday Inns don't want to go through the risk of buying an existing structure and then paying architects and then going to the city to get everything approved to then start building. Because the holding cost during that whole time is just too much, and it's a huge risk because if the city says no, then you basically lost all your money. So her strategy minimizes the risk by going to the sellers of these lots and negotiating with them and asking them to hold off on closing the property until after her plans are approved. In the residential space, most people will not agree with that. You're not gonna be able to go to a home seller and say, hey, home seller, let me buy your home and give me 2 years while I go through the city, I go through plans, and get this approved before we close. It's unlikely it's gonna happen. But for a commercial building, if you offer them more money, then they might be willing to do it. And so by doing this strategy, she can get away with just raising enough money for the EMD, the earnest money deposit, as well as the fees for city planning and architects. So as an example, she's able to get a deal under contract, raise enough money for the 3% EMD, as well as the architectural and city planning fees, and then tie this property under contract. Meanwhile, she's talking to different developers, like a Marriott representative, and saying, what does your Marriott want? What are the dimensions and size that you need? Work with my architect so that we can create this Marriott on this lot. So then she goes through the whole city planning process. It might take a year and a half or so. And then finally, after a year and a half, she already has a contract from this Marriott developer to buy this property from her at, let's say, $8 million. So all in, she's probably in for $3.5 million for the EMD and architectural fees. The developer buys it for her for $8 million. She makes a $4.5 million spread, just like that. This is a crazy strategy, guys, and it involves thinking big, which is something that all of us need to do. We all need to think bigger. Now, of course, there is a huge amount of risk with this strategy, which is why it's not super popular. Because let's say that the city decides not to do it, then you're basically out your EMD and all your investors lost that $3 million. So you need to be able to do this and win more times than you lose. I don't know how it works out during this whole COVID-19 situation when hotels are getting bombarded and getting hurt really badly. Like, they're probably not interested in creating more Marriotts, but this is still a wonderful example of thinking big and having a niche in the industry. So by listening to this episode, you're gonna learn how to identify different lots. You're gonna learn how to talk to different hotel representatives. You'll learn what conferences to go to network. and you'll even be given an opportunity to go work with her if you're so interested in doing so. Again, wonderful strategies in this video. Check out these episodes, learn how to develop homes out of state for infinite returns, learn how to get into the land flipping game, and learn how to wholesale hotels here in the Bay Area for maximum profit. Let me know what your favorite strategy is, and let me know what your favorite podcast episode is. And if you haven't yet, I definitely recommend that you subscribe to my real estate investing podcast. We release episodes every Wednesday and Sunday at 5 a.m. and interview successful real estate investors and professionals to teach you more about the business and to help you achieve your real estate investing goals. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or my website, everythingrei.com/podcast. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification to get notified every time I release a new video. Thanks for watching this, guys, and I'll see you next time. Take care.